Welcome Pisces to your in-depth monthly forecast for December 2024 for the Ascendant, the Sun or the Moon. If you order your year 2025 personal horoscope forecast, you also get your life roadmap report 30% off, but also my free gift of your zodiac general, love, Chinese and Indian forecast for the coming year. Please see the link below for more. The personal forecast is totally unique to each person it's produced for and will give you searing insights for the next year. You'll get the rest of 24 free. On the screen now, I'm showing your event chart right at the start of the month. The big takeout is that we've got 2 new moons this month. The first on the first day is in your sector of success. The second, the black moon on the 30th, is in the part of your chart that's to do with sociability. What perfect timing to see in the new year. But right at the start of this month, as the moon, as you can see from your chart, applies to the sun, there's also a link between Mars, in the part of your chart to do with physical energy and stamina, but also the North Node in the part of your chart to do with your self-worth. Now, they're linking back to that worldly interaction that's going to be addressed by the new moon on the 1st. So you've got it all there to go for, at least on the face of it, Pisces. Because the 2 most influential planets this month are both in your sign. Yes, I know that Pluto's moved into the 12th house, and I know that Venus is going to connect to it around the 7th when Venus moves into Aquarius, which could have implications for your love life. But when it comes to that worldly interaction, raising your profile, receiving acclaim, attention, gaining traction for your talents and skills, gaining greater success, then I feel that it's all down to how you value you. Because Saturn, since March 2023, has been squeezing the pips in your situation. You may not have enjoyed the best vitality, but what Saturn's been asking you to do is to focus on what's really essential, to simplify your life. If you've done that, made yourself a bit leaner and a bit fitter, and put the focus on the things that are really important, Saturn will not inhibit you in quite the same way. If you're still trying to juggle things, particularly because Neptune, your ruler, also in your sign since 2012, is going to be influential too this month, but just in a different way. That's the part of you that could be a little bit dreamy, maybe a little idealistic, perhaps even a little impractical as other people see you, not how I see you. Because Pisces people, this archetype, that you're very drifting and dreamy and escapist and very compassionate, it's not as simple as that. Every single individual person has unique qualities and strengths, and you actually have the ability of flexibility. Also, you can sit deep in situations and observe what goes on and not necessarily react to them. So this is a month right from the off when Saturn applies in a square broadly to the new moon, but also in a T-square critically to your traditional ruler Jupiter. And Jupiter starts this month in a retrograde. Does that mean you're going to be unlucky? No, but it does mean that you're likely to be quite invested in your emotional needs or your family life, and that's really important. Why not? But just at a time when there's that big cluster of energy right at the top of your chart urging you to seize the prize. So because Saturn is moderating the exuberance of Jupiter all through this month, and precisely on Christmas Eve, this could be a time when the golden prize could slip by you if you pause, you doubt yourself, you're unsure, you're not quite clear on your strategy, or you can't get your ideas across, even if they are imaginative, artistic, creative or different, in a way that other people feel fits in with the structure that they expect, not what you want. So there may be some bending that you need to do, but that's where your talent for survival can come in, because you're mutable. But just be aware, if you're doubting yourself or your physical circumstances are preventing you from really focusing in the way quite that you'd like, and to be honest, that is really life for most of us. We rarely have everything lined up exactly as we'd like. It's more making the most of what we've got, and there could be a bit of that this month. But if you can free your mind or free your soul, Neptune, if you can free your physical energy, Saturn, to focus on what's really important, that interview, that application, that presentation you do could give you tremendous uplift and radiance and the ability to draw people to you. And all of it's going to come up to the boil on the 6th with the Mercury Cazimi. If there is a letter, an email that you're sending, a conversation you're having, particularly with someone influential, you could punch your ideas across really very well. Also, right at the start of this month, Venus begins the month in a very sociable area, in a very electric, but also really lovely link with Uranus. It's one of those energies that if you are a bit more spontaneous, or there's a zany part of your nature, or you encounter someone who's a bit different, as long as you have the confidence to be totally authentically yourself, something good can come from it. Very often the people who burst through and have success are not the people who are really on the program. They're the people who really are completely invested in being totally individual. But most of us have quite a lot of fear about doing that. Fear of being judged, fear of not quite meeting the conditions. All of that comes from our early childhood, really. But if you've got the confidence and the drive to say how you feel and mean it, then that's going to be very compelling. What about Mars going retrograde on the 6th? Well, to be honest, it is going to be heading back into an almost direct opposition with Pluto by the end of the month. If there are any politics in your situation, you're going to need the vibe of Mars to survive them, because Mars is giving you extra resilience. But because it's retrograde, it's just saying, if you are going to be being more playful this month, and the chances are that is going to be from the time of the winter solstice, because before then, I think your focus is much more on getting that balance between home and those professional or worldly hopes, which are glowing up so powerfully this month. So Mars is just saying, be virtuous, get to bed early if you can, be aware if you're going to have a drink or two with the festivities, make sure you get the water in. If you are someone who has to be a little bit more careful about what you eat and drink, we all know if you go to functions, there are things there that might have the odd thing that doesn't quite agree with us, and that's where the discipline comes in. Fortunately, your ruler Neptune goes direct on the 7th. If you have felt that some of those individual hopes have wavered a little bit since early July, wouldn't be a surprise, because obviously Saturn was going retrograde until last month on the 15th. So all of those energies may have depleted you a little bit, but critically on the 7th, Venus does pitch up in Aquarius. Now Venus is very friendly, non-judgmental, maybe a little bit zany in the sign of Aquarius, but the 12th house and applying to Pluto is interesting. If in a romantic context, you don't feel that your partner either supports you enough around home and emotional and family issues, or the children, but at the same time neither really applauds you on and cheers you on in terms of your worldly pursuits, it really could bite in a deep way on the 7th, around that time, as Venus and Pluto come together. But equally, you can have a fascination with someone that burns hot from that point. Is it someone that maybe you've got a secret connection to, a secret observation of? Or is it someone that you've known before? Because the potential for some kind of reconnection is very, very strong, but also the potential for politics around the relationship. So just be aware of that. But if something isn't working in a current tie, it could be tested. It could be tested at that point, and also towards the end of this year. But one of the things that is going to happen with the full moon on the 15th. Mercury goes direct on that day. So some of the work things that you've been waiting to hear about can get clarified. It's still going to be in its post-retrograde shadow until early January. The problem with the full moon is not the full moon in itself of balancing the work-life thing, because that's really the theme of this month, together with making sure that your role in the middle, the pivot, means that you get heard or felt or seen emotionally, or heard or felt or seen professionally. The real issue is Neptune, because Neptune's in a T-square to that full moon. And you could find yourself doubting and perhaps double guessing yourself, not quite trusting in your instincts. Try to avoid that. Try to stay in touch with all the lessons that Saturn's been teaching you about simplifying things, but also being more direct, thorough, going in processes. The winter solstice on the 21st is a chance to get some light relief, because the Sun returns to Capricorn. It ushers in cardinal quadrant 4, the last 13-week period of the astrological year. And for you, it also can see you find your voice. If someone does need holding to account, you do need to ask some searching questions. You can do it then. But it could also be that because you may need to break out, perhaps do something spontaneously, perhaps even travel, because of the T-square to the nodal axis, there could be a cost to that, and you could find yourself not quite sure whether to invest in that need for escapism or not. But if you do head off for some winter sun or snow, it could on the whole be very good for you. Also, Chiron goes direct on the 29th. If you have had a narrative going on within you that you're not quite valuable enough, Chiron going direct will help. But the new moon, which occurs, the black moon, the second new moon of the month on the 30th, really can supercharge your desire to escape things that are oppressive. The problem is that Mars and Pluto are almost exactly opposite, which is as highly charged as one can possibly get. Pluto in your 12th house could reveal, even to yourself, some uncomfortable truths. On the other hand, there may be some practical realities and obligations that you feel you have to see through. You could feel really conflicted, so that need to perhaps escape, even, dare I say, run away from the oppressive situation could be very strong. Just be conscious of that. If you do head off somewhere that gives you that moment of interlude to see in the new year, that's wonderful, but just be conscious of how Jupiter came into that exact clash with Saturn on Christmas Eve. So if there are some politics around a family relationship as much as a romantic one, those could come up as much as anything to do with your work environment. So in general, as you end this year, I think you're thinking very much about needing some light relief, but it might not necessarily work out exactly as you need if you just do something spontaneously, if someone else feels that you're deserting your post, so to speak. So you could feel that sense of conflict as the year comes to a close. But the big picture, which is really important, Pisces, if you have a goal or ambition and you really want to focus on it and stay single-minded, it's a big opportunity this month. If you want to be more social, the opportunity for that comes through from the winter solstice, but there are still some complexities there. But in general, I feel you could find a part of you that needs to get in touch with your deepest feelings around your connections, and that could stir up, with Venus applying to Pluto, some senses of people who are no longer with us, someone you used to see years gone by. You could feel hugely nostalgic, which can be part of you anyway. So all of that can froth up from the 7th, but then the harsh reality of the situation may see you a bit angry or a bit disgruntled towards the end of the year, but that's when you can decide to be much more rebellious and do something for you rather than being the everlasting sacrificing soul. If you've yet to watch your year 2025 deep dive video, please see the link beneath this video. Have a great Christmas, a happy new year, good luck and goodbye.